Hi everybody. Last class we started our economics chapter, the sectors of Indian economy, and we already learned how the economy classified three classification of economy, okay, on the basis of nature, on the basis of terms of employment, and on the basis of ownership. So already you learned how the economy classified on the basis of nature. On the basis of nature, primary sector, secondary sector and tertiary sector. Then ma'am taught you how economy classified on the basis of terms of employment. It classified into organized and unorganized sector. On the basis of ownership, private sector and public sector. So these are the classification of economy. Anyway, we studied about first classification, how economy classified on the basis of nature. We learned about primary, secondary and tertiary sector. Today is our topic, comparing the three sectors. How we can compare the three sectors. So comparing the three sectors, today is our topic. Anyway children, ma'am already taught you primary, secondary and tertiary sectors produces a very large number of goods and services. So what ma'am told, each sector is producing a very large number of goods and services, and a large number of people are working in them, okay, to produce those goods. Large number of workers also working in each sector. Now we will check what about the production of goods and services by each sector, or what about the providing employment opportunity in each sector. So what ma'am told children, now we are going to compare what about the production of goods and services by each sector, and what about the employment, okay, providing employment opportunity in each sector. Okay, just we are checking every economy, we can see one or two sectors will be the dominant. What ma'am told children, if we are checking in every economy, we can see one or more sectors which are dominant, okay, means in terms of production and in terms of providing employment opportunity, we can see one or two sectors are dominant in every economy. And if we are looking some other sectors, relatively their percentage or they are small in size in terms of goods and producing goods and services and providing employment opportunity. Now we are going to learn our next topic, how do we count the various goods and services and to know for the total production in each sector. So what is my question? How we can count the various goods and services? How do we can count the various goods and services and know the total production of each sector? Okay, so for counting the value of goods and services, what we will take? We will take the final goods, okay, final value of a goods used for counting the various goods and services. Okay, for counting the various goods and services, what we will take, ma'am told, we will take the final value, okay, final value of goods and services we will use. For what? For counting various goods and services and to know the total production, what we will take? Final value of goods and services. Example ma'am will tell, then it will be easy. Final value of goods and services. For example, ma'am will tell, if you are taking an example of biscuit. Okay, for making biscuit, you know many other items needed. Wheat needed. Okay, then wheat flour. Okay, then you know sugar, oil, many things needed for making biscuit. Okay, then only wheat will change into biscuit. Okay, so for adding the value of goods, what ma'am told, we will take the final value of a product. So wheat. For making biscuit, ma'am told wheat flour, oil, sugar, everything is using, and no need to count the value of these all things. Okay, so what we will take? We'll take the final value. Okay, so what about the value of biscuit? It will take. Okay, so the value of biscuit, it will include the value of all other items. So what ma'am told, the value of final item or the final product, that is biscuit. So So the biscuit, its price will include all other value of these goods, means these all goods are intermediate goods. So no need to count the value of wheat flours, then sugar, okay, oil, etc. Okay, so what we can take the final product, value of final product. Okay, value of final product. So we are taking, why we are taking the value of final product? Why value of final product is taking? Because these all goods are intermediate goods. These all are intermediate goods. So no need to take the value of intermediate goods. Intermediate goods value will included in the final product. For example, ma'am will tell wheat, sometime it will sell 8 rupee per kg. Okay, per kg 1 kilogram wheat, it will be 8 rupees. So when it changed into wheat flour, it will be 10 rupee. Okay, rupees 10 for 1 kg. Okay, so it will add some sugar, oil, and final product will be the biscuit. So sometimes the biscuit value will be 30 rupee or 40 rupee. Okay, so all the value of these product included in the final product. So what ma'am told, understood? So no need to count the value of each product, the value of final product enough. Okay, so how my question, what is my question? How do we can count various goods and services and know the total production? So what will do? Primary sector, secondary sector, 3 sectors ma'am told, primary, secondary, tertiary. Okay, so 3 sectors. What about the production in each sector? How can we can understand the total production in each sector? First, primary sector, how much goods and services produced in primary sector, its value will take, final value will take. Okay, then secondary sector, how much is produced, its final value will take. Tertiary sector, how much produced, its final value will take. And after that, all the final values will add, then we'll get a total production. Okay, so total production will be obtained by adding all the final values. So ma'am told you, my question, how do we can count the value of goods and services and for knowing the total production? Okay, so what ma'am told, I think understood. So ma'am told this only, for counting the value of goods and services, the final value of a product is used. Okay, for example, ma'am told wheat flour, biscuit is the final product. So this product will reach into the consumers or the customers, or the consumers will get a final product only. So no need to count the value of these all goods. Final products value only counting means we can understand. Okay, what is the total production? What ma'am told is clear? Okay, so this is one example. So ma'am already told you how we can count the value of a goods. Okay, so children, for this in economically a term is using, that is called GDP. Okay, GDP. What is GDP means? Gross domestic product. Gross domestic product. Okay, so what is GDP? GDP is the value, okay, final value, sum total or the value of final goods and services produced in a country during a particular year. So what is GDP? The final value of all goods and services produced in a country by each sector, primary, secondary and tertiary sector during a particular year of time. That is called GDP. Okay, so GDP provides total production of each sector in a year. Okay, so it provides the total production of each sector in a year. So GDP shows how big an economy is. Just looking the GDP of a country, we can understand that how big an economy is. So what ma'am told is clear. GDP shows how big the economy is. Okay, so ma'am told GDP and all ma'am told how this GDP is calculated. The GDP in India, measuring of GDP, it undertaken by central government. So in India, who is measuring GDP? It is undertaken by central government, okay, with the help of various government department. Who will undertake this measuring of GDP? Central government. So with the help of various government department, all the Indian states and union territories, they will collect the information regarding relating to the volume of goods and services produced in their own places. What about the goods and services produced in their own places, and for the estimation of GDP? Okay, so what ma'am told children, every state and union territories, what they will do, they will collect the information relating to the volume of goods and services produced in their own places, and finally it will be estimated for getting GDP of a country. I think it is clear. Our next topic is about the historical changes in the sectors. So if we are looking the example for a developed country, in the initial stages of development, primary sector will be the most important sector. Okay, primary sector will be the most important sector in terms of economic activity or in terms of production of goods and services and employment. So what ma'am told is clear. If we are taking an example for a developed country, in the initial stages of development, primary sector, it will be the most important sector. Okay, economic activity and employment providing sector will be the primary sector. Okay, so after that what will happen, sometime they will use new agricultural method, so production will increase automatically, trade, commerce, everything will automatically develop, and people also may engage in different types of activities. Many activities also people will do. Okay, and at the same time production also will increase. Agriculturally largely agricultural production also will be there. So that time also primary sector will be the most important sector in terms of employment opportunity and providing goods and services. After that, if we are checking up in 100 years later, what will happen? New methods of manufacturing will increase. So automatically we can see a shift from primary sector to secondary sector. So what ma'am told children, new methods of manufacturing will come, factories will come, machines will introduce. So large number of people from the farming sector, we can see a shift from farming sector to factories and all for working. So there will be a shift from primary sector to secondary sector in terms of employment and production of goods and services. So what will happen? The secondary sector will become the most important sector in terms of production and employment. Okay, now we are checking the past 100 years. If we are checking, we can see there will be a gradual shift from secondary sector to tertiary sector or service sector in terms of employment and the production of goods and services. So this is about the historical changes in the sector, and now we are looking, we can understand that which sector will become the most emerging sector. Tertiary sector will become the most emerging sector. Okay, so this is about the historical changes in the sector. Now we will look what about the changes in the sector in India, historical changes in the sector in India. Just you can see one graph in your textbook. Just look that graph. It is the GDP by primary, secondary and tertiary sector. Okay, so you can see two datas on the basis of 1973-74, then second one 2013 and 14. Okay, then three colors you can see: primary, secondary and tertiary. Primary sector used blue color, secondary red color and tertiary sector green color. So first we will look the what change happened in primary, secondary and tertiary sector in 1973-74. So just look 1973 to 74. First we will look which sector is the most primary, whether primary or secondary or tertiary, which sector will be the most important sector in the year 1973-74. You can identify it is primary sector. Okay, second you can see tertiary sector, then only secondary sector. Now we are going to look the second data as per 2013 and 14. Just look, you can conclude that which sector is the emerging sector? Tertiary sector. Okay, the percentage of tertiary sector, that is very high.
in GDP. Okay, then second secondary sector, third only primary sector. From this data we can conclude that which is the most emerging sector in India? Tertiary sector. Okay, so tertiary sector, then secondary sector, then only primary sector. So this is the GDP rate. Okay, this is the percentage of GDP by both sectors in India.
I think children, today's topic is clear to you. If you have any doubt, ask me. We will meet in the next class.